Podcast with Victor Pacheco. Hello, welcome to Papicock Podcast with your host, comedian Victor Pacheco. We got a really great show for you guys tonight with an amazing, talented comedian that I love and adore and respect with all my heart, the amazing Thai Rivera.
What up, Victor? Just
hey, what's up?
What if that was like my attitude as soon as we get on? We're having good conversation before, and then as soon as it starts rolling, I'm like, what up?
I was just like, holy shit. Okay, he does not want to do my podcast. But thanks, man. Not at all.
I don't want to be here. I'm being held against my will. Thanks for being patient, though. I do mean that. Let me know if I'm too loud or something. But
no. You'd have to be screaming bloody murder, in which case we would stop the podcast. But
all right, and so like I didn't do sound check before or find out because I'm using my earbuds, obviously, because I feel like they get better sound than if I just had my phone. And I didn't want to plug in and whatever. My phone's dying. It was dying, but I plugged it in. But yeah, then I like almost ran out of gas on the way here, and my day didn't go the way I planned it to, but it was still great. And I've got surgery on Wednesday, and so thank you for being patient. I was late, and I'm sorry.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, dude. I appreciate you being here, dude. I really love the fact that you took the time to do my podcast, and I know you're super busy, so I appreciate it. You know, I'd wait all day if I had to. So thanks for not making me wait all day. So I do appreciate that so much.
No, and I'm sorry about keeping you wait. Like,
no, dude. You're just like, fuck this guy. He fucking waits for burgers. He could wait for this fucking piece of meat.
Do you wait for burgers? You look like the kind of guy that would just run in and grab your burger. Like you go to like.
I go to fancy.
Do they still do that at Burger King? Like when when they just used to have them sitting there so they could just grab two and be like.
No. When you're a fat bougie fuck like me, you order them off the broiler. No microwave.
Okay, yeah, you
have to order them like that. And I swear to God, you get the freshest Whoppers at Burger King, and you'll just be like, Victor was right.
I respect you. I respect your hustle.
This is the pre-secret menu to the secret menus at fucking fast food joints. It's like, oh, In-N-Out with a secret menu. It's like, bitch, you guys have fucking websites about that shit. You just have to know the ends and just be like, no microwave, off the broiler, which means like as soon as they cook it, I want it off the broiler. You have to say it like that. Otherwise, it's just some old stale ass hamburgers. Which
off the broiler,
no microwave. You have to say off the broiler, no microwave. This is how you speak fat, Ty. I'm teaching you something. You know,
well,
you're not just doing my podcast. You're learning how to talk fat. So
I've always wanted to know how to talk fat. I've always been intrigued by the fat community. I've always wanted to know the ways of the fat community. So I'm glad to have you as my liaison.
Well, what's up with you, man? Well, you should be knowing about fatties. Aren't you a muscle daddy? Would you consider yourself a muscle daddy, Ty?
No, I'm not a muscle daddy.
You're buff. You got a six-pack. You're a hot gay guy. I seen your chest. You can be hairy. So are you a muscle daddy or you
no.
a wolf? Are you a lone wolf or how does that?
I don't know what I would classify as in the gay community, to tell you the truth. Like, you know, especially more here lately, because, you know, lately I've been like in a different space when it comes to that. So I'm not really so much worried about the hookups or like, you know, I actually am ready to not like just settle down, to tell you the truth, as far as that goes. So I don't know what I would classify as. I would classify myself as a guy that probably is going to be more serious than these fags are ready for.
Holy shit. Okay, Ty.
So whatever that animal is, is what I am.
Dude,
I don't know about bears and otters and lions and tigers.
You're talking to a bear right here, supposedly. I'm a bear.
Yeah, you're.
And then you know how I know you're not a muscle daddy? Because if you were a muscle daddy, you'd be attracted to me. And you're not. I'm 200 pounds too heavy. So it's just like, I know you're not a muscle daddy, because I found out, according to another bear, the muscle daddies like bears because they like to fuck squishy guys so they don't fuck up their rock chiseled hard bodies. So it's like, I wasn't trying to bait you as much as I was trying to make sure you didn't classify yourself as a muscle daddy or what, you know, because it's just like everybody.
You might be losing your touch.
I am.
You know what I mean? Like, because if I was a muscle daddy and I wasn't into you, you might be losing your touch. You know, I might. you might start to question, like, am I not attractive to the muscle daddy community anymore after being this superstar and sensation?
That's what plagues me every day, Ty. I'm just like, fuck,
After being
man.
this icon in the gay community. Now, I'm just a mere man.
Dude, no, because I was talking to this gay guy and I was just like, hey, listen, I the story about how I did my first comedy show at a gay venue in the Castro. And I didn't know what to expect, but like as soon as I got off the Muni and I hit the streets of the Castro, I was confronted by these 6 muscular dudes in tank tops and shorts, and they were looking at me into my eyes and making me feel like I matter. And I was just like, dude, these guys have done for me,
making me feel like I matter.
They did, because they did for me in fucking 2 seconds. In 2 seconds, than any woman had ever done to me in 35 years at that time. And they made me feel like I was somebody's type. Like, I was just like, I didn't know that I was a type. These fucking dudes just wanted to fuck.
Well, you are somebody's type. Theirs.
I didn't know that though.
Well,
it took me going to the Castro and feeling like good. And it's just
that's one of the things that the internet has really done for us. Like people always talk about the terrible things that the internet has done. But what the internet has done for us that's been positive is it's like shown everybody that kind of whatever they want is out there and might possibly want them too. Because so many people have so many different, like where they think like, oh, I could never be attractive, or like, traditionally attractive like that. You know what I mean? And so then there's all these niches now. And like the gay community is pretty, like, I have to say, like the gay community has come a long way because it is genuinely more body positive now. There are certain things with the gay community that I don't really like agree with or jive with, but like that's cool. But then at the same time, it presents other problems sometimes. One thing I wanted to ask you before we really get started here though, is do you want to screen record on your end just in case like, something happens?
It's recording right now. Like it's going to my computer. Dude, thank you for your concern. Yeah, dude. Trust me.
I've done some stuff where I've said some really fun stuff and I was really excited for it to come out, and then something happened, and for me it's like,
no, the worst case scenario, it's gonna kick us both off, and then it's gonna fucking tell my computer, because it's automatically, like, I didn't set this up, but Zoom did. So as soon as I log off of this conversation, it automatically downloads to my computer audio version and audio video version. So I'm golden, but I hope it doesn't log us off after 45 minutes for whatever reason. But no. We're good to go. Everything's golden. I was going to ask you a series of questions because for those of you that don't know, for those of you living under a rock, Thai Rivera is a fucking hilarious comedian. He's been in Comedy Central a couple of times, Roast America, In My Heart. He's appeared. I love Ty because he's really fucking hilarious. He's always writing new stuff. And Ty was like one of these guys that I met on the internet. I was Facebook friends with before I actually met him. And before I knew who like he really was, before I met him, Ty's a professional comedian, hands down, like fucking bona fide killer headliner across the country. He's, a really fucking funny guy. But the thing about it is, like, somebody from Ty's stature calling out other comedians before I even met him about, oh yeah, well, you think you're a real fucking comic? We'll go to these open mics. And I'm just like, holy fucking shit. I can name some fucking comedians who are past at maybe 1 or 2 clubs who are just copping an attitude about doing open mics. And here we have Ty, a bona fide headliner, shaming other comedians for not going to open mics. So I was wondering, Ty, what is the importance of an open mic, and what do you look forward to getting out of an open mic when you, as a professional comedian, go to an open mic?
Well, what I would like to get, and the reason I go to open mics is because at open mics I have actual freedom. Nobody's paying me, so nobody can say they're disappointed or that I was unprofessional. So that's what I like about open mics, for me personally. As far as what I'm trying to get out of the open mic, if I get one bit in a 5-minute, you know, like a 5-minute open mic spot, which is a lot of times what I see as like 5 minutes, then that's a win for me. Like, I'm not worried about trying to kill it at the open mics. I don't worry about the other comics at the open mics. They're welcome to think whatever they want. If I try some new shit and it fucking doesn't do well, if you call that bombing, call that bombing. I don't think you can bomb at an open mic, because open mics are for experimenting. Is a scientist failing when one of his ideas doesn't work out? Does that automatically make him a failure? No, he's got to, you know, figure out what he's doing, adjust the levels. Like, it's the same with comedy. And so, like, I'm more worried about me than I am anybody else in the room. If there's audience members, I am worried about them, but just in the way that I want to get a read off of them. I want to be able to see by their faces what it is they're reacting to on any level, and if I can get anything from them, you know. And at open mics, I'll also try completely new stuff. I'll do silly riffing in between just to be stupid, you know what I mean, and have fun with the comics. I mean, like, for me, open mics are complete freedom. And I was talking about this with another friend of mine, and they feel the same way I do. And then somebody on YouTube said this as well. So there's a lot of us that feel this way. It's sort of like if you were to compare it to something like bodybuilding. It's like, if you get to a certain size and if you reach a certain, you know, point in your career and you're a bodybuilder, do you stop going to the gym? You know, if you plan to continue being a bodybuilder, if you plan to give up, then, you know, you can do whatever you want. Start eating ice cream and what, like, you know, just however you want to do it. Live your life, boo. And some do eat ice cream, but, you know, that shows you too. Like, also, it's similar, is like the fact that different people can do it different ways and still have it get to where you want it to be. But, you know, like, you don't stop going to the gym because you've reached a certain size if you plan to continue going. And that's the way I feel about stand-up and open mics. Is open mics are the gym, and then an actual show would be like the competition, you know, and you go up and you fucking show them the material you worked on and like how you polished it up. And that's where you really like get the full, you know, people expect so much from open mics and then they get disappointed in the open mic. And it's like, the open mic was the open mic. Your expectation was what was too high.
Yeah, dude.
And I have a dog too, so you didn't have to mute and say shut up like that. You could have just told that bitch to shut up right here.
I was being respectful to the viewers. a little breaking the fourth wall over here. I got a Chihuahua / poodle / Cocker Spaniel / Spaniel, whatever the fuck she is. She's a fucking mutt, but she's a beautiful dog, but she just has no respect. But no, it was just like I wanted to ask you about just the process of just, I don't know, like, I mean, it's not really asking as much as just like wanted to like add. Sometimes when I go to open mics, and this isn't like any bias, but sometimes I'll have like false positives and false negatives in that, like, I'm performing to a room full of comics. There isn't a single civilian in there that is an audience member that has come to watch a show in goodwill because they want to be entertained. It's just comedians waiting for their spot. So sometimes I'll go up there and I will fucking bomb with grade A material that murders at showcases. And then the shit that fucking kills at open mics will never work at a showcase because you're making a bunch of fucking open mic comedians laugh with a bunch of serial killer references and Netflix references and video game references and Dungeons and Dragons references and what ifs and hypotheticals, as opposed to like, hey, this is what's going on in my life right now. Mm-hmm. And obviously you guys don't give a shit because, you know, you just want to go up next. So I don't know. It's just hard sometimes, especially like with a new scene. Like, I know you've been in Las Vegas for some years now, but I just moved to LA like a year ago. And it's just like, hey, if you're not a celebrity, you don't have TV credits, and you didn't go viral on TikTok, get the fuck out. It's like, that's what it feels like that. And I don't know if it's really like that, but it feels like that. And I'm wondering, based on your experiences with the pandemic, how has your bookings and the way that you perform stand-up comedy changed because of the pandemic?
Well, I personally decided that I didn't want to be on the road that much during the pandemic. You know, I'm like, me and Bijou, we were already close enough, you know what I mean? Me and my little dog. But then we just, like, you know, got even more settled in during that time, and I like being close to stuff in Vegas. And so I haven't been really pursuing a lot of things. I still have some stuff coming up. I'm going to be in Sarasota, Florida, and I'm going to be in Sacramento, but that's not till June. But also with a person like me, because I don't mind doing the road, I know that I'll always be all right because, if I get bored, I can hit up Ron Heron at Brewery Comedy Tour and, do some one-nighters if I want to. Technically, I could take somebody else's week if I decide to, and I'm still very comfortable in that space as far as performing goes. So I don't mind if I end up having to do that, but I would rather right now see what happens here at home and how much I can actually be around and avoid the road as much as possible. And even if it's like the nicer version of the road, which like the clubs I have coming up are great and cool. But like even that, I kind of just want to like chill out and work on the digital until I can level up and maybe, do some different stuff. And so that's more my concentration. So that's what's changed for me personally. But as far as the way things go on the road, one thing that I do want to mention as a comic that I don't think a lot of people are understanding is when you see people flipping out on the airplanes and in restaurants and stuff like that, they're doing that in comedy clubs too. But it's just, as comics, it's our job to make it still stay fun and do what it takes in the moment. Well, this is the way I feel. And do what it takes in the moment to keep that situation contained and even make it fun. But the clubs need to allow a little bit more leeway for that. And I don't think a lot of clubs are really getting that. Like they're trying to police it sometimes like it's like a, well, it's comedy anyway. You know what I mean? And like, especially a lot of the places I perform, like those people come out for a good time. Some of them know the name Thai Rivera because I've been back a couple of times or whatever, but sometimes they're just there for comedy. And in a lot of ways, that's what I'm built for. Is, I will give you just straight up comedy, crowd work, fucking like full on material. If you just want material, I tell the audience sometimes, like if they're like kind of tight or whatever, if like, say you're in a particular area where you're used to the audience being like particularly fun or, like, and then you have a show where the audience isn't as lively and talkative. I'll tell them literally like, I don't need you to do this. Like, if you just want to see me perform, I'll do that. And so then I'll just go into like full material mode and just give them 45 minutes to an hour of just, and like, so, but yeah, I don't think a lot of people right now in comedy on the business side are respecting the art and like what exactly that is. So also for that too, it's not worth it for me to be on the road in a lot of cases. If anybody's going to try to put any kind of limitations on me or also one thing I've been running into lately, which I didn't used to have any problems at all with, was people used to just let me pick my feature. And more recently, they seem to be more discriminating about that, which I can understand that because with pandemic, one thing that has changed is people do want value for their money. And so I get it, but I've never brought along a shitty comic with me because I don't bring comics along to get me high. I don't bring them along to get me drugs. I don't bring them along to get me alcohol or drink with me. Like, that's not what I do. And like lately I noticed more places that I never used to have a problem with making that an actual issue. And it's like, okay, why is this a thing right now? And maybe it's because I need to get bigger so that my word actually means that, even though they should know that from having seen it all the years that I've been going to their clubs. But maybe I just need to level up so that we don't even have to have this discussion. So I'd rather stay home and work on shit that actually matters than be at some club that doesn't appreciate me or doing some kind of booking where it's like, this isn't what I do.
Damn. I mean,
did that all make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it makes sense. It's just hard because it's just like so many comedians romanticize going on the road like this is a badge of honor. And don't get me wrong, I've done a bunch of road gigs, a bunch of one-nighters that have fucking sucked. Like I'm hosting and I buried the feature and the headliner. So the only good comic of the show was me. And then the headliner, it's like we're supposed to be cool and friendly and shit. The ride up there was great. And the ride back is kind of awkward. Like, hey, why did you kill it so hard up front? It's just like, I'm trying to get rebooked. But
yes, try sharing a condo with them.
And what, you're just the opener or feature and the headliner.
Feature and wearing this motherfucker out show after show to the point where he knows he's not coming back to the club as a headliner. Buried. And then, like, on one of the shows, well, he started asking the host to do a little extra time between us to calm him down. So then that was the first sign of a crack. Then it progressed to at a point, like on one of the shows, he did like a plastic surgery joke, like as kind of like a subtle dig at me. And it was something that wasn't in his his shit from the shows before. And it was like, oh, well, why are we opening like that? And the audience sensed it, and he got 0 laughs off of that as well.
Well, I mean, that's rule 101 of stand-up comedy. You know, it's just like, hey, don't be a dick to the headliner, dude. Don't try to fucking be a passive aggressive little bitch. Because, like, you know, even if they know you and they love you, well, if they know you and they love you, they're going to be on your side. They're going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But if they don't know you and they don't love you, they're going to be like, hey, who is this guy? Why are you mentioning this guy? So either way, they're fucked. So why the fuck are you mentioning the guy who's yet to go up? Because you're disappointing the fans.
Oh, no, that was when I was featuring. When I was featuring. Yeah, I was the feature, and I was fucking wearing him out show after show.
And you still had to share the condo. Did you guys go out to eat together?
We went to the King Super. I shouldn't say too much because then it tells you the city. We went to the grocery store together. But
that's great. Well, don't worry.
But yeah, it's not something I like to do. But like at that club, they told me I had to feature in order to, be able to headline. And so I feel like I have to show them what I can do. And I feel like if you're an actual headliner, because I don't think about burying anybody, or my thinking isn't at all malicious. It isn't about the other comics. I want to give the best show possible and give them the best impression of what it is I do so that I can come back as headliner. So I'm not even thinking about the headliner. You know, for me personally, it has nothing to do with that. When he said the thing about the plastic surgery, I was fine with it. But at the same time, I was like, well, the reason the audience didn't laugh at that was because it didn't come from a good place. Like, you were trying to be shitty. Like me doing as well as I do, I'm not trying to be anything. I was just doing stand-up the way that you're supposed to do it. And sometimes people spend their time on cruise ships. And if you divide it between the two, because I don't have anything against cruise ship comics at all, and I would work a cruise. They make good fucking money. I would work a cruise for a couple of months if they would like have me. But when you're gay, in a lot of cases, you do get less opportunities at that kind of stuff, because no matter what you do, it's going to be considered on some level controversial to some people, especially.
It's because you're gay, and because you might not have like what is traditionally considered a man's voice. Just alone, even if you don't talk about your sexuality, if you don't talk about having sex, if you don't talk about grinder, if you don't talk about relationships, people still have a problem with you, Ty, because you're gay male, and in some cases a gay Latino male.
Like, but then even look at that. Like, look at what you said. And this is like, I'm not like coming after you in any way or anything like that. I'm just making the point that this is the way that people said it, or the way that people think it. Like, you know, when you mention, like, even if you don't talk about relationships, well, any comic should be able to talk about relationships, because whether they're gay or straight, they're still relationships. Now, if we're all staying away from sexual situations and doing like a PG show, PG-13 at the most, which a lot of times people wonder what PG-13 is. And the way I was taught, which I don't know if this is 100% everybody's, but it seems like a good rule of thumb in all the time I've been doing comedy, like PG-13 is like you can get away with like a shit or a damn or something like that. But you don't want to use the F word, definitely. And you also don't want to go into sexual situations. So if you say a PG-13 comedy show, and I'm like, okay, cool, I don't mind being PG-13, but I'm just being PG-13 and gay, and you consider that to be worse than PG-13 and straight, then that's kind of where the problem is.
Do bookers, talent coordinators, cruise ships, and corporate like bookers, or what talent coordinators do, are these people like like throwing that against you as a gay comedian or as a comedian who's gay?
They won't say it, but it's something we deal with. And it's not just like me. I'm a lonely guy on this island saying this. You know, a lot of gay comics will tell you this. Like, this isn't like a, you know, where I'm just the one guy or I feel like it's personal or whatever. It's just sometimes, and that is changing all the time too. So I'm not going to make it sound like it's just hopeless. And, you know, there are people that are doing their parts to show them, but a lot of showing them does take playing their way and starting off that way, which I've done plenty and I'll do in the future if I have to, you know, like as far as that goes, as far as comedy, you know, if I can provide myself another opportunity, especially here in Las Vegas, that happens to be on the cleaner side or PG-13 side. When it comes to that, it's not like I'm that much of a rebel or that much of a against establishment type of comic that I wouldn't do that kind of thing. All of those are skills and they're great. And they're, you know, like they could be a road to somewhere and also for other comics. But just as far as going on the road for that, you know, it's kind of like I'd rather just relax here for now, you know, to get back to what I was saying earlier. But yeah, they won't outright say it. There's also like acceptably gay as well, where that's another thing that you run up against, you know, where it's unique to being a gay comedian is there is a particular party line. So now you're too edgy no matter what you do for the traditional straight crowd or the more uptight straight crowd. You know, that's what it's considered. And a lot of times if they were to just let you do the show, you do well. That's what the bookers don't understand. They're doing it based off of what their assumption is of what the audience would do, or because they had a bad gay comic, which, you know, there's bad gay comics just like there's bad straight comics. But, you know, to them, it was just a gay comic. And so it was the gay material that the audience couldn't take. But yeah, like, so you not only do you run up against that, you also run up against the fact that the gay community has very particular standards on what they think you're supposed to say as far as you being an acceptable gay person in gay society.
Wow. So it's just you're getting judged. I mean, that's what I feel like no matter what I do. I feel like I'm getting judged no matter what situation I'm in. Now, I'm not gay, but I'm Mexican, just like you. And like, you know, compared to me, absolutely, you're a fucking pretty boy. I mean, in general, you're a pretty boy. You know, you got your little fucking, you know, you look good, Ty. You always look good. I've never seen you look like shit.
I look like shit, especially right now. I feel good. Eyebrows,
you dress down just to make me feel comfortable. And you still look like Spicky Martin over here with your fucking hair.
Shut up. I've been spending the day being a mother. You know, I was with Bijou. Yes, Bijou needed to get her shot. Oh, I love my Bijou so much.
Well, that's why you're glowing. And that's why I'm like pale as shit because I've been inside all day fucking feeling bad about fucking not having a car right now. But, you know, it's just fucked up because like it's like sometimes you're just I don't know, like I feel like as a Mexican and sometimes as a fat Mexican, but mostly as a Mexican, I feel like sometimes like I got to work 20 times harder than a mediocre straight white comic male dude just to get fucking 10% of that fucking cute looking dude who isn't even really funny, but people are just like, oh, he's a guy who I'd like to like go out with my sister or go out with my daughter. And you know what? I'm going to give him a chance. And then when I go on stage, they're like, ew, that guy's gross. He has tits. And he's talking about choking out his wife on stage. What the fuck? He probably doesn't even have
but we all have our things. You know what I mean? Like people always assume I'm not going to be funny. That's 100% every show I do.
Are you what? This is news to me. This is news to me. Wait. Just wait, because you're gay and you're at these certain.
No, just audience members. No, just audience members. Because I come up with a very, like, if you ever see me walk on stage, I come up with a very blasé attitude. I'm going to fuck about here I am. Whatever. Let's. Fucking.
I thought that was part of the charm. That's part of the charm. Like, what the what? So what? Wait, how do they expect you not to be funny? They expect me to be fucking retarded, but how do they expect you not to be funny? I don't understand that.
Because they're stupid. Because they're dumb.
No. I mean, no.
You know who used to? Okay, I'll tell you the most like recognizable example of a person that literally has told me that. Terry from the Haha.
I haven't met her yet, but she hasn't returned my text after I got Jack approved. So we will see what
happens. Jack Jr. mama.
Yeah, no, yeah. No,
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I heard.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
She don't like you?
no, she just like admits like that she every time that she books me, she when I get on stage, she thinks I'm not gonna be funny. And then I always because she's like you know how she talks, she was like, well, I don't want to be too
This day and age, you're gonna get canceled just for doing an impression of somebody who
let
you
me see. Let
know.
me see. What did she say to me? Let me think about what she said to me. And then if I decide to do it in action or not,
We're
she
not editing
said,
shit, so you better choose your words.
hi. Every time I book you, you get on stage and I'm like, he's not funny. I don't know why I booked him. And then she's like, and then a few minutes later, you make everybody start laughing. And then I'm like, oh, he's funny. That's my terrible theater.
Dude, I'm not okay. We're not gonna establish which club this is from. We obviously all know, but seriously though,
the Ha Comedy Club.
I know. Damn it, I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna say anymore. But what I was gonna, I'm gonna say what I'm saying. But anyway, no, dude. I mean, just like as a comedy staff, whether that's the booker, talent coordinator, manager, general manager, assistant manager, even wait staff, doesn't fucking matter. You know, to get that type of feedback for somebody who works at a comedy club might be like disheartening. It might, you know, but I don't know. Like I've had people just you tell me straight up, hey, you're number 6 on the lineup, like, you know, like in the order, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
no,
6.
I don't care because I don't give a fuck what you think. Like you admit that once I get them going, then I fucking get them. But haha is a place. I'll tell you my history with the haha. When I first did the haha, it was to do a showcase for Theta. She had seen me at the Laugh Factory Latino night, and she was so impressed, and she wanted me to come do a guest set. And I went to do a guest set, and this had to be like 2005 or something. You know what I mean? Like it was quite a while back. And this is to show you how much the attitude changed on fucking gay, even in that amount of time. Like that's when haha was pretty much all Latino and black. Now it's a little bit more mixed, but you know, like haha did have a lot of like, you know, that particular night might have been their Latino night, but whatever the fuck was happening, it had a whole different layout. This is forever ago. And I like Rick Gutierrez had told me that, you know, I would hold on to the mic stand too much. And so he wanted me to put it at the back of the stage. And that was Rick's, like, you know, kind of taking me under his wing, trying to help me out. I was a newer comic. And so what happened was I go on stage at the haha and I tell the audience that I'm gay. I don't remember how I opened, but at that time I would open with I was gay, like first thing in my set, you know, or like early in my set. And I said that, and I went to the back of the stage to put the mic back like Rick told me. And when I turned around, there were literally 2 people left in the audience. Like everybody was filing out, you know what I mean? And then by the time everybody finished filing out, there were literally 2 people in the audience listening. That was the first time I ever did the haha.
Wait,
so that was kind of.
Did you walk people because you were gay, or
just by saying I was gay? Literally, I hadn't even done like a full joke. Like I did like the little joke that I would do. I can't even remember what it was. I know I had some opening joke that I would do. And I remember it so because I mean, like that as a comic will traumatize you.
How
you
long
know what
did,
I mean?
Like, what did that do to you after you felt like shit? Obviously, did you feel like you were never going to get booked in anywhere again in Hollywood or anywhere in LA, or what was the feeling like? Like, were you just like, "Oh, I'm going to recover from this"? It's just a bomb.
Well, yeah, because you got to figure it out no matter what. So I never thought of anything that way. You know what I mean? Like there were times when. I mean, like I maybe had like after the Black Women's Empowerment dinner, I used to do a joke about the Black Women's Empowerment dinner. But after the Black Women's Empowerment dinner, I did cry in the car on the way home and was like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. I remember literally saying those words to myself, so gay and dramatic, but literally it was like, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. And that was probably like 2 or 3 years into stand-up, you know, so still kind of that baby phase. But yeah, and I had been having some really great sets, but just like also learning to adjust it for the different audiences and be appropriate for what different audiences need. So anyway, my point is with the haha in particular, because that was my first impression of them. That was the first impression they gave me. I will start off by just punching them in the fucking face as soon as I get on stage, just to remind them. Even though it's completely different audiences, you know what I mean? It's been years, it's a whole different layout. It's not even the same location anymore. And I still am just like, I need to punch this audience in the fucking face, and then I'll make it into what it needs to be. So, like what Terry points out is kind of by design, even though I don't consciously think about it. It's just something that eventually happens. It's like, you're gonna take this, and now I'll give you something you like. But first, you're gonna take that first part because you guys were fucking dicks.
Dude, that's fucked up. I don't know. It feels like sometimes like comedy clubs put up barriers, and then like as soon as you get on stage that first time, they're like, "Oh shit, we should have hired you years ago," and then you're just like, "What the fuck?" But you can't say that because that's unprofessional. But you're just like, "Oh yeah,
yeah." But I always concentrate on the "I got it now."
Okay, yeah. That's good because that's empowering as fuck. Because like with me and a lot of other comedians, we dwell off all the time that was wasted, and like with comedy, like time is so important. So it's kind of good segue to the next question I wanted to ask you. That's like super important to me. So when you start comedy and you go to an open mic, it's like they want you to do 3 to 5 minutes, and so like, and then like after that, like like somebody notices you, whether it's a bringer show or they want to give you an opportunity because they think you're funny. Either way, they're like, they want you to do 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes, right? And then so like you piece together these little pieces to make like a 12-minute set, a 10-minute set, a 15-minute set, a 20-minute set, a 25-minute set, a 30-minute set. How do you write a headliner set?
Well, I look at like I guess I kind of reverse engineered it in a way. Because like when that's what I continue to do when it comes to like the headliner set, because all of my jokes have like either several different tags or several different directions I can go in that are like more just setting up me and setting up my story. You know what I mean? Like letting the audience get to know me. But then there's the big pops in between, because the timing on a longer set is usually like different, like you'll get a bunch of pops sometimes, like, cause I'll go out and just fucking, like if I'm in a headlining set, a professional show, like actual room, well, yeah, really anywhere that I'm headlining, what I do is I go out and I just like to give them pop, 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 unless it's the ha-ha and I'm being a dick, or a room that I feel like I don't like it to be, you know what I mean? Like, but a traditional set, I'll give them just like a pop, 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 and then like really like get them going. Like that's what I like to do, is get them going. And then I slow it down and go into like the more in-depth parts of whatever it is I've been saying that has caused the pops, and then still add pops, but just like fewer at that point, because I need them to calm down and I need them to like hear what I'm saying to understand the bigger pops that are coming at the end off of the shit. In a lot of cases, it's the real, like to them, deeper stuff. But to me at this point, like kind of where I want to be starting off. But I like, I've had to wait my entire career in a lot of cases for people to catch up to me. And then once they catch up to me, just because of the people that I've been around and stuff like that, and the stuff I've been exposed to me, once people catch up to me, then I'm bored with that too. And so then I move on, and then again, they're behind. And so I feel like now people are starting to catch up, because, like all the things people talk about, like trans people, like serious gay, like being gay, like as an actual adult, like a human being, not some caricature, being Latino, like all the stuff that people like, it's considered to be important, or like, kind of to have any substance to them now. I got over talking about the substance of back when they were just trying to figure out why those things should be important, or be like, you know what I mean? Like not necessarily be important, but why those voices should be heard too.
But the thing is, though, like there's so much like enlightenment that's going on right now that somebody posted recently, like as in today, and I'm just gonna name names. I don't remember the name of the guy who was on it, but there was this guy that like some of my people that I follow on Instagram were retweeting or putting on their stories and tagging this dude because he was on George Lopez's podcast. So I clicked on the dude's name, and it turns out that he's a Latino or a Mexican or something like Latino, or like HBO Latino Presents, and he's part of the showcase. So he's a Latino, right? And the thing is with George Lopez, I've heard so many horror stories from the 90s and from the 2000s that, oh, well, if you're Latino, you can't open for George Lopez. But because of all this enlightenment that's been going on recently, you know, with the pandemic and like with all this, like, oh, we need to stick together, or whatever, like George Lopez is trying to mend his ways, and he's trying to uplift other Latino comedians. Like, you know, he understands now, according to
what he said it that way.
Not that I've heard personally, but based on what one of my comedy friends told me down here in SoCal, who was sharing that post, because I said, hey, you know, that's cool that he's allowing Latinos on his podcast when he wouldn't even allow Latinos to open for him in stand-up. And he's like, oh, well, now because of all the college educated Latinos that are coming through and, you know, enlightening people, now George Lopez has a different type of stand in, you know, trying to uplift Latino comedians. I don't know if it's bullshit, but, you know, based on his history,
but, you know,
he doesn't have to help comedians in general. Nobody has to help anybody. But it is.
But see, that's where I think people assume too much. I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
No, that was done.
That's where I think people like assume too much, because I've never heard from George Lopez that he doesn't like Latinos working for him for one reason or the other. I have heard that he doesn't, and I know that that's a thing, but I've never heard him say why that is. And there are people that could say that about me when it comes to gay and LGBT comics, and that would be because, like, for a long time, it would be too much for the audience, especially a lot of the places I perform. And then you'd go from being a regular show to what they consider a gay show. And it's too much for them to wrap their minds around in some cases. So there could have been a chance that George Lopez thought, you know, a lot of things were too Latino. And to be honest, if I were George Lopez, I would honestly think about that too, because all of his stuff tends to be Latino centric.
Yes.
So if you have another Latino go up and do very Latino centric stuff, I would say that the fix to that could have been easy. He could have still helped out Latinos, but just ones that were more cerebral than he was, you know, because there are the more like, you know, like heady type comics. And he's not that. So it's not like he would even have to compete with it. You know, he's still going to be George Lopez, and they're all still going to be beaners in the audience that are going to be like, you know, get the smart guy off, que puto, like fucking, you know.
What's fucked up is that they would say that about me. We're like, y este cabrón más puto cabrón. Where's George Lopez? These guys ain't George Lopez, even if, you know, I get the opportunity. No, it's just that I've heard some horror stories from even like comics who've been doing this for like 25, 30 years, talking about like, you know, I was so happy I was opening for, you know, one of my heroes, you know, George Lopez. But as soon as I showed up to the club and he found out I was Mexican, they're like, nope, you can't open for me. So I'm just like, you know, it's an open hidden secret. Like all the comics know, all the Latino comics know. Some of the white comics are like, oh my God, really?
No, but I don't see. But like the thing is,
he can't say why, because honestly, what was he gonna say? Oh, you know, the whole fucking growing up Mexican and growing up poor and growing up in the hood, bro. I want to be the first one that talks about it, man. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't talk like that, but I mean, it's just like, you know, it's just like I did a show recently. I'm not gonna say where or which show, but I did a show with mostly Latinos or all Latinos. And there was a lot of Paul Rodriguez. There was a lot of Carlos Mencia. There was a lot of George Lopez. And none of those three comedians were there. I'm just saying a lot of contemporary, like, you know, up and coming comedians even, and professional comedians even, bite off the style that, you know,
Well, that's the other thing that happens when you're Latino, because there is acceptably Latino, you know, and there's something that even other Latinos will admit when they're in mixed audiences that they don't really like that either. But it like every group that you put like with their own people turns exponentially dumber as a group.
Why though?
As
Because we're all family, right? Or why?
Yeah, and they all feel like they should be judging each other. Are you a good Mexican? Are you being a good Mexican? Are you being a good gay? Are you being a good black person? Are you being, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I perform for rednecks, because rednecks don't give a fuck. If they find shit funny, they find shit funny, and that's what it is. They're laughing. They're not.
It's funny because every time you say like, yeah, I perform at redneck rooms, it's like you wear that badge of honor. Like when I say I love performing in black rooms because I'm able to tell jokes in black rooms I can't tell nowhere else, because I don't feel comfortable saying okay, and I don't even use the N-word in any of my stories or any of my jokes, but I do tell stories where I quote students of mine that have called me less than favorable names. Like I had a student call me a fat Mexican nigga before. And like that story fucking kills in black rooms. But if there's white people in the room, they're just like, they're looking around like, oh my God, can that fat Mexican talk about the N-word like that? It's like, listen, bitch, I am quoting exactly what happened in class. So if anybody's the fucking villain in this, it's the kid who called me the N-word. Not me.
But that I can understand. Like, you know, if you're in a black room and they choose to, like, that's something I've told people about. Like, I don't feel comfortable when people just say the N-word in front of me and they're not black, because like, I don't feel like I have that pass to give, and I feel like it makes me part of a conversation that I don't necessarily want to be a part of. And so if it's happening even as an audience member, it's like, now I'm co-signing to this, and maybe, like, you know, I don't feel like that I have the authority to, like, that's a lot of where my thinking comes from it on me personally. And maybe that's like, you know, because also that particular word is one of the only things that will get a room shut down. Like, you know, it's almost like pretty much a slam dunk if somebody's like, yeah, if somebody decides to make an issue of that, then that one's not going to be really an arguable one where the room can be, because like people, especially whatever the intention was with the joke, people in this day and age will go the cancel culture route in some cases and be like, I heard somebody that wasn't black say the N-word on that stage, and now I don't want to go back because I think they're racist. I think, and you know, that is the way people talk. So no matter what the intent is, like that's one of the only words that'll do that. You can call somebody a cunt. You can say a lot of stuff, you
know. You definitely call people cunts. I called somebody a cunt recently on a Zoom show, and nobody said, the people just laughed their asses off like, wow, you just called them a cunt.
And the bar will be like, they're a comedian, they talk like that, that's what they do. But then, you know, you say somebody said the N-word and they have to treat it with a different kind of
I think it's also though, like, you know, just the way you say it in the sense that, is it malicious or are you trying to tell a story? Because like, for example, like this is a true story because I teach in the hood a lot. You know, so one of these kids
asked me. Are you going to do another N-word thing? Because like I said, I don't want to be a part of that.
But it's just like I got called the 2 N-words. And I was like, why? Like two short, 2 chains.
You know, we can move on because I don't mind the conversation. But I don't like this is
No, I know you don't like it. I'm just talking. Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, like this is the thing. We're friends, Victor, and I like you, and we're going to continue the conversation. But really, I've expressed on my podcast, which you listen to, that I'm not comfortable with that. And you did it like in the middle of me doing an interview with you. So it's like, what position are you trying to? No, but what position are you trying to put me in?
I wasn't trying to put you in any position.
We're friends, but at the same time, I've been very clear about that. And so I don't know why that would even happen. So let's do the next question.
No, absolutely.
Or I can I'm fine either way.
No, Ty. No, first of all, I just want to say.
Well, I don't want to hear anything. Just
no. I'm moving on to the next one.
Or next fucking question, or I'm done being interviewed.
I know. I'm sorry.
I just spent enough time. I had a conversation already. No. Just next question, please.
No, okay. So.
And you better not cut this shit out either. This better
I'm
be
not cutting it out.
And I also want part of it because I'm going to come up with the promo for this fucking show.
Obviously. No. Of course
not.
But no. There's no edit. No. I'm not going to edit.
Well, go ahead.
No. My next question. Which has all of this for the record. All these questions have been riffed. I've just been asking them from the heart.
Okay.
So there was no disrespect. You actually my next one. Okay. So as you just mentioned, I am a huge fan of you, Ty. I do love Unbothered. I'm not kissing your ass. This is part of the question, but I do love Unbothered. I do listen to it all the time. You did talk about something that like sticks out to me because I listen to a lot of episodes and it's happened a lot of episodes
Was
ago.
it the N-word?
No, okay, no. You
going back into the N-word, I thought I just said. We're gonna get off it, Victor. We're gonna get off it.
For the record, you mentioned your distaste for the N-word at least once every 6 episodes. But so you're right. Okay. So it was the
God damn it! Why did you do that to me? We're supposed to be friends.
No.
This is why I don't trust people. This is why I don't trust people.
I was not sandbagging you. Do you believe in QAnon? Anyway, no, that was not my
I was going to bring them up. That's how I got around all this PC shit. Is I got on with Q. And
no.
Like,
I'm just like,
no.
But
okay, now I'm a fucking messiah. To the right wing.
I'm scared. Okay, no, listen. Listen. Ty's, this is why I love Ty. He's Ty's like, hey, listen, we're friends, but fuck you. So anyway, the next question. No, this is a real question though. And this is a great transition because Ty's like, fuck you, we're done. I'm like, okay. So
now we're talking about the trans people? How many ways are you trying to get it, Victor? You're trying to get the castle in one fucking podcast.
I rattled feathers when I was trying to not rattle feathers.
All right.
So I was like, I was about to leave.
Transition.
Okay, no. We're transitioning. Okay, question. I got titties, just so you know.
Got my pen.
Okay.
Write some shit down. You're gonna watch you.
Oh my God, you know I'm gonna publish this shit without editing it. Okay, just for everyone who's listening, because listen, I love it because I was just like, oh yeah, Ty's gonna be non-confrontational, and I'm like, oh, I crossed the line, and I was okay. Anyway, no. So I listen to Unbothered all the time, and one thing that I heard you say was about your experience with the Laugh Factory and Jamie Masada, the owner of the Laugh Factory, who gave you some homework assignments to make you the comedian that you are today, which is a fucking powerhouse comedian who is fucking funny, who could fucking literally kill it at any room. So when you mentioned, because in your podcast, you just mentioned, hey, these are, I got some homework assignments for Jamie at the Laugh Factory, but you didn't go into detail about what those were. Can you reveal as many as you can? Like, even if you like spend the next half an hour saying this one and this one and this one and this one, like, I believe that this is honestly like, because
I can give you a couple like little examples, but like really, I don't even remember all of what he was telling me because some of it was like going in and out of my head. Like the first time I ever met Jamie Masada, I wasn't even living in LA. I was just there to check things out, and I decided to do the open mic there. And I quickly learned it wasn't like a regular open mic. Like the people that use that open mic are really making they'll complain about the way it works. They'll be like, you have to start waiting in line at 2 p.m. And you know what I mean? And it's like, all of it's by design because they want you to have your 3 minutes of actual material that you want Jamie to see, or at that time wanted Jamie to see, so that you could actually, I didn't know this, but all I knew was I had bad stage fright at the time. So I had to be very rehearsed and know exactly what I was going to say. I already knew that much, but I was still brand new in comedy. Like I had done it maybe 4 times or something like that. And I had good results, but like the first time I completely forgot my stuff. You know what I mean? Like there had been like definitely yeah, but like, and the worst part was I had wrote it down on my hand, Well, I was sitting there nervous through the show doing this, and it never even occurred to me to look at my hands because I never write stuff on my hands like that. It's never been a thing before, and I'm not usually that nervous that I'm wringing my hands or like rubbing my thighs. And then I get on stage and I look down to see whatever I was about to say, and then all of a sudden I fucking, everything's been worn off my hands.
So did you just go up there and just stare at the audience, or did you get off early, or did you go back after that, or like? I did some quick riffs and remembered what it was I was supposed to say. That was like the first time, literally the first time I got on stage. But like the stuff I said in the moment got laughs, so I felt good about it when I got off stage, and I probably did like a minute and a half or 2 minutes at the most. I wasn't anywhere close to 5 minutes, and I know that.
But also, like I said, I had such bad stage fright that everything was like spinning in my head, you know, like it was, I had actual stage fright. So anyway, so then like, you know, I had done a couple of shows and that kind of stuff, but I definitely still had the major stage fright. And but like I said, I was good at being rehearsed, so I knew what my stuff was supposed to be, and I was supposed to do 3 minutes, and I spent that time that I was just sitting there waiting on the fucking sidewalk, like making sure that I know which jokes I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna do them in my head, my plan, you know. And so I went up and I did my set for Jamie. And at that time, it was nothing special to talk to Jamie, like in that way, like, you know, he would show up to all the open mics and give some critiques and, you know, like see who had potential and who didn't. Again, that's why you wait out since 2 p.m. because if Jamie's got to sit through it in there, you got to sit through it out there. Kind of the way to think about it. You know, maybe not his exact psychology, but it all makes sense to the way that that mic works and what people complain about. So then Jamie sees me afterwards, and I had a good set, but obviously it wasn't like rocking the house. I'm nervous. I'm in the Laugh Factory. It was mostly comics at that time, but you know, because it was the open mic part, which was at 7 p.m. on Mondays, I think it was. So a lot of people aren't even out of like, you know, out from after work type of vibe. Like that doesn't happen until 8, and that's when the real show starts there. But like the good thing was Monday was Latino night, so they would have, so you sometimes get some people there early, but it was like nothing. But I did really well, but like super nervous, like I said, in stage fright. And so when I went upstairs, Jamie asked me if I lived in Hollywood, and I told him no. And so anyway, he said that I was a really great writer. I should move to LA. By the time I got in the showcase process, the kind of advice that he would give me would be like little things sometimes, like make sure you're moving around a bit more. Like it looks like you're bored on stage. Like, you know, it's okay to do deadpan, but you actually look bored. He would give me actual like critique on what it was I was doing, like me specifically. And also at the same time, like sometimes tell me how to think about things and which comics to like maybe take a glance at, because they were doing something that was maybe in a similar vein and could give you an idea. Not ever, like never did he encourage me to steal from anybody, bite anybody's style, anything like that. He'd just be like, you know, see what they are. They're something different. You're something different. So maybe, you know, you can learn something and adapt that to whatever it is you are. And so like Jamie probably had the most influence on me, like as far as comedically, once I started doing comedy. And it would just be from him. Like he would actually pay attention. And like, that's the thing, like you want to get annoyed. And there were times that I did get annoyed and I would be like, just fucking pass me, Jamie. But if somebody's giving you critiques enough that they're actually telling you what you need to be doing, and they're not just giving you generic advice for gay comic or whatever, it's like, I'm actually watching you and I'm telling you what I want to see from you if you want to be a regular at my club. How can you not value that? Like, even if you plan to do something, because here's the secret, like Jamie would tell me what he fucking wanted from me week after fucking week. And it went on for 2 years, and there were months that I couldn't do it or weeks that I couldn't do it. But like, you know, it did go on for 2 years and him critiquing me. But once I got into that club and became a regular, I could do anything I wanted, and Jamie never questioned it, and nobody ever talked to me about anything. You know, so you kind of buy your freedom by discipline, and it's fair.
And your freedom would be like, you could talk about anything you want, anything edgy, any fucking topic you want, no matter what it is, because you know the payout's going to be everyone laughing and people being on your side. And so you could fucking at the very least bank out on your comedic talent. And so like people will recognize it. And so it's just like, hey, what's your job? It's to make people laugh. So if you're going to be talking about something that's maybe not traditional or maybe not mainstream, it's a little edgy, it's a little bit like whatever, a little different, then everyone, you're going to get everyone on board. And that's like the thing that like I try to tell new comics. It's like you're trying to manipulate the energy in the room to get everyone breathing in the same tempo you're breathing. So if you go boo, everyone's like, ah. So yeah. It's just like it's funny, like it is. And then earlier when you're talking about how you just fucking go out there and you just cock slap the audience. Yeah, you dick slap them, and it's just like that's what you got to do, because like, you know, there's like, hey, this is what the fuck I'm talking about, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I have to offer this room specifically, and you guys are going to get a good fucking show, and I'm going to try 100%, and this is what the fuck I'm going to bring.
And also, if you're a comic and you're thinking 100% that way, like about, because this is another way comics can think about, like somebody giving them the kind of direction Jamie gave me. And there's not a lot of people I think I even would have trusted then to like, you know, like really tell me what to do. But like Jamie Masada has definitely had the biggest comics in his club, on his roster, as his friends. You know, he knows stand-up comedy. Like a lot of comedy club owners, I don't feel like know stand-up comedy. Jamie, whether or not we have the same taste exactly or think the same way, especially now when it comes to comedy, whether or not that's different, he definitely does understand comedy. He does know comedy. And he like will tell you about things that you as a comic, because you're thinking about jokes, you're thinking about, you know, all the stuff that you have to think about on stage. He's like looking at you and noticing some of the little things. Like I said, like walk around a little more, like you lean on the microphone stand too much. I want to see you not lean on the microphone stand like that, because like if you choose to lean on the microphone stand, that's one thing. But if that's your security blanket and it reads as your security blanket, maybe it's something you need to break.
Jesus. You mean I mean, I was just taught from the beginning, it's just grab the microphone, put it behind you. And then I see some comics are like, wait, there's no mic stand? I can't do this show. I can't do this show without a mic stand. And I'm just like, what's the fucking problem? Just hold the fuck. And it's just like, no, they're not even holding the mic. They're holding the fucking mic stand.
I never made that a thing, but I definitely have felt that feeling. And it just taught me that I need to shake that too. You know what I mean? And I shouldn't be using it as a, what's it called? You know, because like I said, like Jamie would give me advice and there would be like breaks in between where I would like, you know, not be able to show up for a month or two because I had to do what's it called. And then Jamie was also opening the Chicago club at the same, or no, the New York club at the same time. And the New York club is no longer there, but he had a New York club that was Times Square, I believe. I did it. I went there, you know, but yeah, you know, now, yeah, Chicago still, but I don't know what they're doing with that. But anyway, you know, so there would be me being busy, him being busy, but then when he would see me, he'd go right back and like tell me what it is I needed to do, what it was he wanted to see out of me the next time that I went. And like, it was always the carrot, you know what I mean? Like, then you can be a regular. And then I'd do something and then he'd notice something else. And then he'd be like, well, now you got to do this. And like, it was very frustrating. And like I said, he did once in a while get one of my like, Jamie, Jamie, just make me a regular.
Did you feel like at any point he was kind of like messing with you or fucking with you, or like just like you felt like you could have been passed sooner and like he was just making you like, oh, just every single tiny bit, like pretty much you murdered it?
Of course, my ego felt that way, but like now looking back on it as like a comic that actually does stand up, like, you know, and like people can talk shit about my personality and whatever the fuck they want, but when it comes to actual stand up, I am fucking good at stand up.
I agree. And, you know, I think you're great.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel like, you know, a lot of that does come from those little bullshit things that did get on my nerves. You know,
it's
just
damn
like,
it, dude. Jesus.
It's all the little bells and whistles, you know what I mean? That take it from being a fucking a Denali to being a Cadillac Escalade.
Well, you know, I'm still trying to get on that Escalade status, you know. Because, you know,
I need an actual Escalade. My car is fucking ready to be done.
Dude, but, my car's done right now. I'm going through it right now with the dealerships, and they did some predatory type of business practices where they're supposed to check the head gasket, but they told me like, you know, it was cool, and then it just blew right after my warranty lapse.
Oh fuck yeah.
So they were just like, oh yeah, oh, you don't know about cars? Cool, let me fuck you real quick. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm going to try to get the news stations involved with the Consumer Report. And
good.
You know, it's just like, you know, good. Hey, you want to fuck me? Cool. Well, I'm going to make sure the news reporters come and fuck with you now. So hopefully all the news stations in LA are not owned by the same people that own Toyota, because then that's going to be a conflict of interest. So I really hope, and I really hope it's not true, but I kind of am hoping that like all the stations here are owned like by like some fucking like by Ford or GMC, and then when I come at them and I'm like, yeah, there's fucking foreign car maker really screwed me over. They're going to be like, oh my God, these foreign terrorists. Yes, we're going to do a consumer report about it.
See, you're going at this the wrong way. They're going to call you racist and you're going to get canceled. See, you don't know.
I'm not going to. Okay. I respect and I appreciate you looking out for me.
Don't go the foreign route. Then you're going to get branded as xenophobic.
No,
you know,
no, I'm not going the foreign route. I am not.
Person, they are fucking me over. You know, like you got to be that citizen. I'm an honest man and a school teacher. And do you know what?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a school teacher and I'm getting fucked in the ass by this fucking corporation because
don't say it like that. Don't.
I'm not. I'm talking to you. I'm going to dress it up better.
I'm going to stop you from talking about this right now because your lawyers are going to be like, no.
Ty is my legal counsel here for any Toyota related problems that I have from here on forward. Because Ty's like, okay. This interview's over as far as the fucking Prius, but
we'll have you in a 93 Tercel by the end of
I don't need your help to get into a 93 Tercel time.
We'll have you in a 93 Tercel. They'll be talking turkey by the time I'm done with them. I'll be like, top-notch legal here.
Thai Rivera here with a 93 Toyota Tercels right here. They don't make Tercels no more. That's how you know they're really, really for you by Thai personally because he loves you and he cares about you. And, you know, he wants to make sure that you get some good mileage to your fucking.
It's vintage. It's vintage. You don't know how to market anything, or you're gonna lose this for us. You're gonna lose.
No, it's not my sale. It's yours. Ty here with a Toyota Tercels 1993 edition, top of the line. And if you have a problem with that, you're homophobic, and we're gonna fucking go to the NAACP, and you're gonna get fucking canceled because you don't fuck with Ty.
Clean interior.
Leather seats and leather.
Like new. Use the word like new.
Like new.
What's the next question?
Okay, my next question. I'm gonna respect your time because I got a ton of questions because I went off the fucking script and like.
All right. Well, let's just bang them out.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Let's go back in time then. Okay.
Oh shit.
No. Yeah, you regret your words. Don't fuck with me. No. We'll bang.
I don't care. Do what you're gonna do. Hurry up.
Okay.
We're not editing shit.
No, we're not. Of course not. Okay. How do you keep morale when you feel sad, passed over, neglected, or not where you feel like you should be in stand-up?
That sounds like more of a question for a therapist.
You know, when you said you were going to bang these out, this doesn't mean you have to bang them down my throat. So I want to fucking just suffocate on them. That is not.
I'm sorry.
Well, no. You're beautiful. No, you're beautiful. You give me a smart ass. You give me a smart ass comment. I'm going to give you a smart ass response. Okay. Just to let you know that, just to let the audience know that, hey, Ty's my friend. And you know what? We might not always agree on certain things, but guess what? We're friends and we fuck around. And at the end of the day, okay, Ty, you don't have to answer that question.
No, go ahead.
Okay. No, it's just how do you, not you personally.
Ask it just so it's on the paper. Ask it
you know what?
Ty,
no. We're keeping the fight in, but my pathetic question I just asked is fucking totally fucking. We didn't even have a fight. We had a quarrel. We didn't have a fight.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm be a grown-up.
I feel like I'm gonna get fucking reported.
Why you gotta be a grown-up? You're gonna be so impressed. You're gonna be.
Well, at least your dog ain't barking. My bitch started barking. Okay, so at least you got your bitch in check. Okay. All due respect to Bijou. I love that girl. Okay. How do you keep morale when you feel sad or passed over, neglected, or you don't feel like you are where you need to be in stand-up?
You know what? That has honestly taken years, but I only had it to a certain degree. So I didn't have like the worst of that, because I always felt like good things were happening. You just have to look at them as actually being good. A lot of people are too busy concentrating on what they don't have rather than being thankful for the things that they do have. And like I said, at different points, I've struggled to different degrees with that, just as a human being. It's not like I'm just perfect and I don't ever feel those ways. But, when you get to watch Angela Johnson pop as one of the first things in your career, you kind of get the idea that it's not maybe the most fair system. Nothing against Angela Johnson, but you know what I mean? That nail bit fucking took off. And like she wasn't even doing the mics or anything like that. And then it took forever for her to catch up, like just as far as being a stand-up. And you know, I had different friends that worked for her and stuff like that. And so just, you know, like honestly, and this isn't a dig at her in any way. I hope it doesn't come off that way. But like you said, no editing. And I'm happy with that because people need to hear whatever pops out, you know?
Absolutely. The good and the bad.
Yeah, but you know, and it was great for her. But like when that's one of the first things you see, then you just get kind of literally like, you know, oh, so this isn't like really based on comedy or people really like there's a way you can do that. And that's what I'm creating now with my own socials. But like at that time, maybe it was even more so that way. And I just didn't realize it because I wasn't on YouTube like that. Obviously it was for her. So I think that too, like that's probably a good thing that I said that and a good thing that I came to the realization right here, because that's the way my mind takes things apart. And then I think that it is a good thing because like, you know, like, well, even if you look at the way I've grown as a comic and the way my views have changed, like, I think I probably would have killed myself if I had gotten as successful right then as Angela Johnson did, and then had to deal with people like turning on me eventually for my thoughts, because my thoughts probably would have deviated eventually anyway. You know what I mean? Where when you're seen as a sweetheart from the beginning, then you have that expectation on you on top of it. You know, you have to live up. Like Angela Johnson to this day, God bless her. I'm not saying anything bad about her, honestly. I like her. She's a nice girl. We did like, you know, some shit together in the beginning, like when she was first, like what's it called? I really didn't mean that to be shady. It's just I'm funny and I can't help but find my way into saying funny things, even if they're not always the nicest. But like I said, they will take me to where it is I'm thinking. But like, you know, there were definitely, because it even did happen to a degree where like for a minute there were certain gay people that really were fans of what I did. But then I said one thing that they didn't agree with, and I got to see how that went and how like kind of shitty they were about it, like the SJW side and that kind of thing. And that's kind of like who you get left pleasing if you blow up like that right in the beginning. So it feels like everything happens for a reason to me, even if I don't like the timing of it. Because if I were to tell you that I wouldn't right now rather be sitting on Bill Burr's money, that would be a lie. If I were to say that, you know, Bert Kreischer isn't killing it and, you know, in a position that I would definitely love to be in, just as far as, but, you know, at the same time, I don't feel like them happening made me not happen. We just all have our routes we're supposed to take and our growth that we need to take to get there. So we're strong enough when we actually get to where we're going, you know?
Absolutely. But I mean, that's what makes you a really unique comedian, Ty, because like not only are you super talented, you give comedians their like upcomings, like, and just tell them, hey, I mean, you tell your audience, hey, this fucking comic is working really hard and they're killing it. And like you do that all the time, whether or not you realize that you're fucking like actually adding to the journey of these comedians, whether they're fucking, you know, going to be here for the next 5 years, the next 50 years. You know, like you're really finding people that are really good and really funny. And like, you're not one of these people that are afraid or intimidated by new comedians. There's a lot of people that are intimidated by new comedians because they might have been doing comedy for 3 or 4 years and they're fucking killing it. Or they're doing really fucking good for 3 or 4 year comics. And you're watching them and you're like, oh, they're like a 12-year comic. And then you're just like, oh, wow, they're a 3-year comic. But then you see moments where you're just like, yeah, you're a 3-year comic. You don't know how to fucking deal with a rowdy crowd. But, you know, at the same time, it's just like, you know, it doesn't matter because everybody who's still learning how to be a stand-up comic has those moments. But it's just like with you, I feel that you give a lot of comedians like credit where credit's due, where you feel it's appropriate for you to just say, hey, you know, this is my platform and these are the fucking like even in your stories, we're just like, so-and-so is killing it right now. And I'm just like, dude, Ty don't need to do that shit. And Ty's doing that shit because like Ty's a big Karen Papa Bear. And that's like, dude, like I really respect the fuck out of you for doing that because like no matter what, at the end of the day, It's just like you're helping out comedians, giving them a platform, giving them a place where they could get better. And it's fucked up because like even like recently you put up this fucking status about fucking who gets paid for what. And it's just like, I don't like this whole like comedians exposing the business. So then like other people need to explain, hey, we're not fucking like, you know, making a shit ton of money doing this. We're just barely coming up. And the guy who's putting in the most work, I'm not even asking him for money. I'm just letting him keep the money. And then whatever I get is whatever I get. But, you know, most people like, I don't even get paid some nights and I'm there for 5 hours. And I just thought your transparency, I'm just like, God damn, this is next level. This is next level.
Yeah, well, because I don't like, especially with that, I don't care because like that's just not in my character. Like everything about me, especially at this point in my life, different points in my life, obviously different things are your main priorities. You know, that's just the way life works. So if people were to say like, you know, I knew him 5 years ago and he wasn't talking about that, you're right, I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like you found me out. I'm an evolving person. I'm a growing and evolving person there, you know, but like, really, when it comes to me and stand-up, I just want everything to be better so that I like it's partly selfish because I want better places to perform and better experiences. And like you can't do that single-handedly. And so you want other good people that you're able to recommend and that can like, you know, make sure that things stay good and places keep getting to have quality comedy. You know, and so like a part of that though is growing it sometimes. Like if somebody comes in at 3 years and they're really great, and am I going to be like, you know, you're not good enough, you're not where you need to be right now, or am I going to say, here's an opportunity that would be appropriate for where you're at, and will possibly jump you to maybe that next little spot, or maybe get you a couple more things that'll help you out, and then I've done the absolute minimum. Like as far as I go, because it was just a quick recommendation or a quick shout out on social media or whatever it was. And then you are able to make that into more and like, you know, get to somewhere better. Then I've helped you grow and then you come up and then you're on shows with me. And now back then I helped myself. You know what I mean? Like, because now you're on the show and you're making it look professional. I had that happen one time in Phoenix and the comics got mad at me for calling it out on stage. And some people could say I threw them under the fucking bus, but I don't feel like that at all. Because the thing is, how did you drive 5 hours from LA to eat shit, not remember your stuff? And this is two different comics. You know, what were you doing in the car ride on the way here? Were you getting high? Were you just chatting with the other comics? Because you all should have been working on your fucking material. You know, and so I said on stage, just like, you know, how do you drive 5 hours to fucking eat shit? You know, I condensed what my thoughts were and I made it on, I put it on stage, you know, and it got like a big reaction. And then I went into jokes. It's not like I just bagged on them the whole time. I was doing a headlining set, you know, but it really was kind of insulting. So anyway, if I can help, like, you know, foster that and grow that on my own scene, why would I not do that? Why would I be like, I really wish someone would come along and help these young guys out. Maybe somebody that's been doing comedy around, you know, 19 years or so like that. Maybe they could find somebody one day. I wonder where they would ever find that guy. Well, why don't I just fucking do it?
Yeah. But I'm just saying for not you personally at all, because like you're actually one of the most confident people I've ever met in my life. And so that's why, like, no matter what, like, I'm just like, hey, dude, listen, if there's a misunderstanding, like, hey, it's my bad, because you've always been very transparent, always been very straightforward, and you can't get that from comedians in the most part. So I'm very aware of your time right now. I don't want to hold you up anymore. So
are you done?
Yes, almost. I just want to ask you this last question. Where can the people find you at home?
They can find me on Instagram. Oh, no. They can find me on Instagram. But really what I'm doing is my YouTube. My YouTube is my main thing right now. It's where I post the most stuff. I'm doing a lot of shorts. And so YouTube, just search Thai Rivera, ThairIrivera. And you'll find me. At first, Ty Ridgeback is going to fill in, and that's apparently some dog that has been the bane of my existence since I started in comedy. Yes, that damn dog just eats up those fucking messages. Once you start typing in Ty, it immediately goes Ty R. It'll even let you get to the I when I'm still getting my ass kicked by this fucking dog. The
Yeah,
Thai
dude.
Ridgeback.
Fuck that dog. Fuck that dog.
Yeah,
Go
so that's your question. Is there any other question that you really want an answer to? What happened? You seem like you got weird. Did you get a message that
No,
said,
dude,
like,
I never
your
got
baby
weirded. No, I saw you look to
canceled?
the side like you're looking at a clock. Like, hey, I think I've been on this podcast too long.
Oh, if I just wanted to go, I would tell you politely.
Oh, okay.
I'd say
Well,
I want to go.
okay. Well, then I never. Okay, fine. Well, then my last question was gonna
I
be.
was late. I told you I would give you an actual fucking what
This
you wanted.
is.
I could not be. You know what? I'm going to tell you something, Victor. This is how you know that I should actually like you. That I actually like you.
So I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry.
You said the N word, which is one of my personal things. You know what I mean? Where I just like, and you knew that, and I don't know why you did it.
I didn't do it on purpose. I'm
But
just an imbecile. I'm an imbecile.
from beginning to end, I have given you a full Thai Rivera experience for your podcast, which is better than I do for most people. You know what I mean? I got mad at you.
You forgave me. You forgave me.
People got to see my nuttiness, like, you know what I mean? When I fucking there's no edits allowed, so it just gives people the real idea of what I am and what I'm like, and so. I appreciated this experience, so but I told you I was going to actually give you.
I know. I am not disappointed.
Late, but
I was just kind of scared you were going to hang up, and I was like, no, hold up, not yet. Hold on, please don't. Not yet. I mean, but no. That was the thing I was scared of. Not that you lost respect for me.
No, but you could not get more of a Thai Rivera experience than this fucking episode.
I really, after I release this episode, what I want to see is like a team of psychiatrists just break down this episode and just fucking diagnose us. Like, and just be like, okay, split personality, sense of fucking narcissism, and that's just me. And then like with you, it's just I don't know what that's just me, because I really am self-centered and narcissistic, even though I'm just whatever. But no. So yes, my closing remarks are a little bit premature. So you can talk to my wife about that. She also has complaints. But listen, no, the last question I was going to ask you before this, and then you're giving me that look like, hey, we should have just ended this. You give me that look now. No, but fuck it. We're going to ask this last question.
Hit me with the cheap, my wife.
This is like, yeah. That's my wife. Yeah, I fucked her.
High-fiving people that aren't even in the room.
My wife is she's asleep in the couch in the living room because she respects my process. But you gave me, dude, that's a screenshot. That's the thumbnail right there. Your reaction to my wife supports my podcast.
Are those her night pants I keep seeing in the background right there? Are those her pants?
Those are mine. Actually, you're a jerk. That's the bed sheet.
No, it's not. There's a very, and then there's this like.
I was just trying to make you feel bad. I was just trying to make you feel bad because I thought you were gonna walk off my podcast.
Cooking pants to sleep.
Dude, I gotta release just the fucking clip I'm releasing for this is you say, "Hey, dude, okay, do you want to end this fucking interview?"
Good. Make me look as crazy as possible.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I'll be happy if you really do a good editing job. People should be mad at me, or there should be like a.
Should I paint you out as a villain? No, I can't.
Why not? Yeah,
you're my hero. I can't.
But
okay, listen.
It'll get clipped. They're gonna see the real podcast anyway, so it doesn't matter. Whatever they think, you know. But yeah, make it fun. Get clicks.
I'll make it fun.
That's the problem with everybody. Like everybody's online right now. Nobody's getting fucking clicks. Nobody does anything fun.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like
no, you do fun shit. You do fun shit.
But they cause this extracurricular drama, and then when you make content about it, they react like a victim instead of like a participant in content. Like, make something. Don't fucking be like, oh, he's a bully. It's like, no.
No. Mine's definitely going to be your bully. I'm going to be like, Ty walked out of my fucking podcast and left me hanging like a jerk. Now listen to it. To watch Ty be a jerk
yeah,
and walk out of my podcast, and they're gonna be like, "Wait, he didn't walk out of his podcast." Like, that's right, bitch. I tricked you. No, please come back.
You can use that for the teaser. Use that for the teaser. We lied. There's editing. Edit that out. We lied. There's editing.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God, dude. That is so fucking funny. We're gonna put like a false narrative about like what happened. It's just gonna be like a snippet. It's gonna be like a 2-minute snippet or like a 90-second snippet of like a fucking hour and a half fucking podcast. And it's just like we're just goofing around having a good time. And
now you're thinking,
yes,
and this is the kind of stuff Jamie Masada taught me. Just like this had nothing to do with it. This is what Jamie was saying. He's like, get clicks, Ty. No, go ahead. Last question.
Okay, last question. No. Yes. This is the last question. I had 4 stars, and this is the last 4-star. Okay, so this is kind of like a 2-part question. Okay, what do comedy clubs want to see in videos, and what makes a good video to send to a comedy club? What is the best way to get into a comedy club right now, specifically with the pandemic going on?
The best way to get into comedy club has always been word of mouth. There's nothing better than, especially a recommendation from another comedian, like that's the best way to get booked in a comedy club, like if somebody, that's really good and really at a club and like, letting them open or feature for you when they're at that point so that they can actually get seen. Cause there's nothing that'll sell it better on top of that. Like you make the introduction, but then they sell it with the actual guest set or like, cause like I'll do that in a lot of cases with people, especially if they're like new and I know they have like the 5 to 7, I'll be like dazzle them then like with the guest set and that I can usually 100% guarantee. There have been places that have been weird about the guest set, which again, also like, see when you ask that question about like feeling slighted, like that kind of thing, I definitely do recognize that energy just to get back to that really quick. Yeah. And I know what people are talking about. But I just always look at it as like the industry is going to be what it is and that's not going to change. But what I can change is what I'm doing. So I can go at it a different way and build my own thing and then make it so that I get it my way when I go out, and so I just can't look to them for that. But when it comes to like, booking and all that kind of stuff, it really is like maybe a person isn't ready for full on set, even a hosting set, but they can rock out a 7-minute. And so you get them a 7-minute, have the club owner actually pay attention to them. And, then hopefully they come back to like do at that point hosting or possibly feature. And then you in that, however many months it takes, because usually it's going to take 4 to 6 months at a minimum for you to actually get booked anywhere, which is hard to do. Like that part, like I'm not going to bullshit you and say there's some secret way to fucking do it because that part has been hard for a long time actually. Like getting in new places can be very hard because people don't always age out their comics or like once their comics start being irrelevant, they look at them as friends because they've been going there for the last, 20 years, 10 years, 30 years in some cases. And that's no exaggeration.
Yeah.
And, that's where, I feel like more independent stuff has to start happening. Like there's this show I'm doing for this production company called Competition Zero on March 25th. And I'm doing this show for them. And it's because I want to help the more independent start to grow because like, let those clubs continue to have their way and what they do. And when you get in there and don't be bitter about it or whatever, but like, worry about your own shit or what you can actually build or be a part of. Cause that's going to be the new thing. I really do feel that way 100%. Like there's so many, like people realized during the pandemic, like exactly how proactive they can be in their own lives. Even like what you guys do with having your own Zoom show, people realize that they can create their own avenue. And so I think that a lot of that stuff is going to lose favor anyway. So nobody should be thinking about it. Let them have their regulars. Let them continue to do the same shit over and over. You find an independent spot, somebody that's doing some shit where they actually look at you as what you are, which is a headliner or wherever you may be, an actual comic, whatever you consider yourself to be, wherever you're at, you find somebody that respects that. instead of fucking kissing somebody's ass that's not even thinking about you. Because you know that's how it is a lot of these places, you know? So why even really try to do that? I mean, like, yeah, keep that on the back burner. And when you have friends that get you in places, like you talked about it on your Facebook, like, you know, I got you in with Laugh Factory, and I don't really care if people know that because people are smart enough to know, don't hit me up.
Dude, I'm not even fucking with you. So I go to the Laugh Factory in Long Beach, right? I meet these Mexican dudes that I'm friends with on Facebook that I've never met before. And he was cool. But his friend, who's also a comedian, he's all like, hey, bro, how do you get on the show, bro? And I was just like, hey, so like my friend Thai Rivera, who like I know, and I've worked with before, he recommended me. And I was actually really surprised. And I'm actually really lucky and fortunate that he recommended me because he didn't have to. And he's like, yeah, bro, just put out a good word for me, man. I just met him. And I'm just like, you know, to be honest with you, bro, like I'm just barely getting in here myself. So I need to prove myself before, like, you know, this producer is able to say, hey, Victor's hilarious. And he's proven himself because I thought I had a pretty good set in San Diego and in Long Beach. I thought I had a pretty good set there too. And so, you know, but unfortunately the producer wasn't there for the Long Beach show. So he doesn't know that how I did, but I did pretty good. But it's just like, you know, I can't get people into that show where I'm not even sure if I'm going to get rebooked because like, there's like,
well,
so
comics
little...
don't understand that. You know what I mean? But like, the thing is, open micers don't understand that. Like actual comics understand that.
Yeah, comics understand it because, dude, it's like, yeah, this month might not be your month. And actually next month and the month after that might not be your month. But the month after that, woo! Like you don't even know. Nobody knows. You know,
and you really don't always have a relationship with the places you perform. So it's a very open mic thing to just assume that this person has carte blanche and can now get you in at the club. You know, so of course you have to, like, you know, and also if you haven't seen someone, like I talked about a couple of weeks ago, like that's one of the most important things is being honest with yourself and your friends. Because yeah, it may feel good and you may feel like a nice person because you got somebody in to do some set at, you know, who gives a fuck, but they actually respect your opinion and you got them in and then they eat shit. And now they're like, you know, leery about your next recommendation.
Absolutely.
And, you know, like these little things do fucking matter in stand up. Like a lot of people would say that I'm like nitpicky or I'm gatekeeping or whatever the fuck, but the little things do matter. Like when it comes to like, you know, what are you looking to happen on your scene if you're not trying to make it as good as possible by putting the best people in the best positions?
But Ty,
right? Like
that's what made me perform even better than I normally would perform. And I normally perform like really fucking good because I'm trying my hardest. But like I had it in my back of my mind. I was like, oh shit, Thai Rivera, who I very much respect, just recommended me for this spot. So I don't want to make him look like he is going to lose any fucking type of credibility. So I have to try just so Ty can just be like, oh yeah, Victor's a solid performer and he's not going to let you down. And I know I didn't let them down because like a lot of the audience told me I did a good job. So I am going based on that. And I watched my video a few times and, you know, not to like, you know, fucking toot my own horn, but it was just like, I really like the more pressure I have, I feel like the better that I do. And like, even though I know you weren't pressuring me, like, hey, you better have a good set, you motherfucker. I recommended you. You never said that to me, but like, I really always had the pressure, like, hey, I want to make sure that I do my boy Ty good. And I don't do a bad job because then, you know, like you mentioned before, you know, your credibility is on the line. And it's just like, oh, if I sucked at San Diego and I sucked in Long Beach, then I'm going to suck any other time that he books me. So,
yeah. And I have never recommended anybody to that particular friend. Like, you know, I didn't have an opportunity, but you know what I mean? Like, I haven't recommended, like, it's very rare. Like, you know, when it comes to me being on the road with people, obviously I've recommended quite a few people to come with me to do things. But like when it comes to like me just out of the blue, there's only been a couple of people like in general that I've done that for at different clubs. But you know, one was Laugh Factory, one was Comedy Store, and they ended up eventually becoming an employee there. So like they really maximized that situation. You did well. I feel like when it comes to comedy, especially, like, you know, I tend to be a pretty good judge of character just because I know you know, when people are taking it seriously and when people are just, every once in a while somebody will fool me, but it's rare. It gets even more and more rare as the longer I go, you know, where it's like they're going to do at least be professional and do the stuff I, you know, would want them to do to make me at least look baseline good.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted you to look good, but at the same time, I'm so fucking insecure that I'm just all like, dude, I have to do good. Otherwise, Ty's going to lose respect for me, which, by the way, I was right about. Like, if I would have bombed or like gone on some rant about like something horrible that's not funny.
Not really, because any one of us can bomb any night. So I don't hold my friend to that strong of a stand, like where it's like you have to fucking kill it or you have to do really well. Like I really do want that, and that will make it so my work stays good. But if you're being a professional and you just happen to have a bad set, or behaving like a professional and you just happen to have a bad set or something like that, that could happen to any one of us. So that's not going to be like a thing for me where I'm like, oh, I don't talk to so-and-so anymore, or I don't like them or whatever like that. You know what I mean? But if they go in and they're like, you know, it seemed like he was drunk and he didn't do well, like something like that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what you do, especially on a recommendation.
Oh,
so if it was something like that,
no
and
new
people
material.
will surprise me like that sometimes. Yeah, that's the other one I've had done.
No new material. Everything that I fucking did, it was 17 minutes. And then 10 minutes for the first show. I was just like, all of this stuff I have done for years, except for the choking out my wife story. Like, I've been doing that for 1 year. But at any rate, like, it's just like I have confidence in that story that it's just like, hey, you know, I'll get people on board with a story. Even like you say, you got to cock slap this crowd or dick slap this crowd sometimes to get them on board and just make sure they're breathing in the same tempo you are. But yeah, you know, it's just like I really fucking admire everything that you do, Ty. I really do look at you as somebody that is doing the right thing with putting out clips. Ty puts out clips on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. He is like very consistent with making sure that, hey, look, motherfuckers, I do new shit and you guys can too. And it's funny because I don't know if you're really trying to shame people as much as you're trying to encourage yourself, but at the same time, you inspire me and motivate me to fucking be better, because I'm just like, look, if my hero Ty, who is like very, very like straightforward, is doing new material, is going to open mics, why the fuck aren't all these other professionals and aspiring professionals, and I'm a professional, I only do fucking showcases, why the fuck aren't you doing open mics if Ty's doing open mic? So that's why, like, I don't cop an attitude going to an open mic. I'm not like, I'm better than this, because I know you don't go into open mics being like, I'm better than everyone here. You go there to work.
Yeah, I'll be at Wise Guys open mic tomorrow.
And that's another thing I admire, dude, because like I saw you, and another thing to give Ty credit for before we take any more of Ty's time. But like, this is one thing I told Ty that I really love about Ty. Ty is a headliner. Ty is a legitimate bona fide fucking murderer. So when I seen Ty hosting an open mic at a new comedy club in Las Vegas, I was like, whoa, I don't want to see another comedian ever at any level ever bitch about hosting an open mic. And then, like, because it was a new club,
I got duped into it though. That's the part people don't get.
It looked voluntary.
That one you're giving me too much credit for, because I got fucking duped.
Okay, well, look, it didn't look like you got duped. It looked
I'm
like...
not happy about.
No, but this is what's funny to me. Not funny like haha, but funny like this is how comedy works.
I hate when people say that. I hate when people say not funny like haha, but
no, okay, fine. This is funny to me because I'm a sick fuck. Let me rephrase it then. It's funny to me because Ty is a headliner. So when I see Ty hosting, I'm just like, why is he Then at the same time, I'm just like, oh, they want the best comic to host. And so
I didn't even host it, Ocha. At my open mic, AJ Rivera is the host, and then I close the show out every week. And I do mean close the show out as in go up last. It's not a glamorous spot. I've had people like put it that way, like, you know, like, oh,
you're the headliner.
I guess if you need to suck your own dick, then yeah, you start an open mic and then you headline it every week. And it's like,
what?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
That makes fucking sense.
I know, dude. Also, by the way, when you're closing out a show at the end of an open mic, oftentimes there's not that many people, or if there is, they're all fucked up. They're all tired. They're all fucking like, okay, what do you got to say? Whoa,
Yeah.
what do you got to say? Okay, motherfucker, we're still here. So prove your point or get the fuck off stage. And then you just bitch slap them. And then you get them on board and they're like laughing their ass off at 1:30 in the morning when they shouldn't be laughing their ass off at 1:30 in the morning. You feel good about yourself. You're amped up and you can't go to bed until like 5 in the morning, if that.
Yeah. And I'll honestly give them like, you know, sometimes 15 or 20 minutes, sometimes more than that, of like an actual open mic set.
No, that's awesome. And like with you,
I'll be working on shit, but we'll have fun because like if somebody chimes in, like Pat Chase, who's a local Vegas comic, we'll hang out a lot of times. AJ hangs out. We have some regulars that go, Gigi, and I can't remember her husband's name. I wish I could. And then their friend, I wish I could remember any of them. I'm terrible with names. Oliver is his name because my ex had a cat by the same. Well, ex is a strong term for what that was, but yeah, Oliver is his name. He's one of the regulars, and so like you know, I don't care if people chime in or like you know have a little bit of fun with me at the end of the night. So then that'll bring it to life too. And then sometimes I will come up with bits from that shit. You know, like I posted a bunch of shit on YouTube of me. There was a really hot guy that was doing comedy the first time I saw him that night, you know, and he talked about how he had a little dick, like while he was on stage, and like me and all the girls just got like, you know, tune this out, you know what I mean? Like it was like it did change the dynamic and stuff like that. And so I had fun with that while I was on stage. And then Pat Chase was joking, saying he had a small dick too, which I think Pat was just being stupid. You know what I mean? Just to keep the fucking dick going. And like, so we had a lot of fun. And like, that's what's starting to create on the Vegas comedy scene. And it is like Ocha helping a lot of that out. Because I'll heckle people during their set, like just give them a quick fun, you know, like not real being shitty with them or trying to ruin their shit, but like it's an open mic and we're having fun. And you know, like Trevor James is one of the comics here, the open micers here in Las Vegas, and I've interrupted his set a couple of times. One time there was this thing between him and this girl where they both had parallel thinking on a particular joke. So she accused him of stealing the joke, and because I don't want to hang out with joke thieves and I'm friends with him, I hit him up just to see what was going on. And it really did turn out to be parallel thinking, or it seemed like it, like from both of their ends. And luckily they patched it up or whatever.
That's
but
good.
They they were both at my mic at the same time. And Trevor James is doing his set, and you know, she's sitting right there, like maybe a couple stools from where the stage is. And he's like, I know I got another good joke in here that I want to do. And I just said, whose is it? They just had that thing, you know? Like all of it just started fucking dying. And Trevor was a good sport about it, and she was a good sport about it. And you know what I mean? And so we'll have moments like that in the night, and where it'll just be like, you know, fun,
just magic.
building.
Just magic.
Yeah, and you're building an actual community, because that's what makes you friends with the other comedians. You know, if you're fucking like legit, all love comedy, then you want to have a good time. And like, what's gonna come to Vegas, and I'll tell you this, and then I'll be out of here. This is the last thing I want everybody to know. What's gonna come to Vegas? What's gonna happen with the Vegas scene is it's gonna become more like the comedy scene. It's gonna become more like actual Rat Pack. There's a lot of people that are claiming to do that right now, but they don't do any of the things except for drink and do coke that the Rat Pack would do. Like,
sorry, you called motherfuckers out on Facebook about that. Kokity? What did you call it?
Good luck with your kokity career.
Kokity career. I was just like, Ty, I know you're talking about me, but that, you know what? As a recovering drug addict, recovering cokehead, my nose ran when I fucking read that. I didn't appreciate it. I'm just kidding. I laughed. I got a little snot bubble that fucking just went down on my face, and I'm just like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just kidding. No, of course not. No. But I have seen people go to like comedy events where the showcases are open mics, and they're like, who's got coke? And I'm just like, you're not even on the show. Who gives a shit? Where's the coke at? And I'm just like, dude, why are you even a comic? Are you what do you call it? Cokedian? Coke eating.
Coke eating. Yeah, and that's the thing with me. Like, people can do that too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't have a problem with people partying at all. If that's what you can do and you can maintain and you fucking have your shit together, then great. But like, if your main focus is the partying and the alcohol, then you're not doing what that actually is. Because, like, the reason that the Rat Pack worked out so well is because those people actually knew each other and they knew how to play with each other and they knew each other's sense of humor and like, also what each other's talents were. And so they all just like, would put each other in the best, like kind of in the best light, which in turn would put them in the best light. And that's what started to happen. Like, there's comedians, like I said, like the people that I've mentioned just in being fun with, I can tell you that those people are built for it. And it doesn't have to be like just 4 people. What I'm saying is like Rat Pack feel, you know what I mean? Like, where everybody knows each other. Like AJ Rivera, like Trevor James, like Jay Monet, and like different ones of them are at different points in their career. Like AJ is probably like 6 months or whatever, like Trevor James is probably similar. Jay Monet has been doing it quite a while, but in Philadelphia. And so you can have like the different tiers and still like all be growing towards something that's going to be actually good. And that's what Vegas is going to turn into. And that's what I'm going to help it turn into. So that's it. You guys can find me on YouTube, Thai Rivera. If you're on Instagram, at official Thai Rivera. Thai, once again, Thai Rivera, Rivera. This has been Thai Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Cut it, Victor. Cut it. Nothing else to say while I'm in the room.
We want to thank everybody for coming out. Oh, no, don't leave. Oh, no. Well, he left. It's all right. We want to thank Thai Rivera for making it out here tonight. We love you, Thai. It was funny as fuck. It was great because, like, this is a real podcast. This is not going to be edited at all. Thai is my friend. I love him a lot. And he did a great job. And by that, all I asked him to do was, hey, keep it real. And guess what? He kept it fucking real. So this has been Papicock Podcast with your host, Victor Pacheco. Find Thai on Instagram, official Thai Rivera, and go on his YouTube and follow him. Subscribe. Thai Rivera, Thai. Next word, Rivera, Rivera. So hit him up, subscribe, follow him. He is fucking really, listen, he is worth his weight in salt. He's actually worth his weight in gold. I've loved and cared about him for a long time. So even if we've had an online quarrel right now, trust me, when I tell you, he is really, really just, I'm so glad we had this interview, and I'm glad we got him, because we were supposed to do like 45 minutes. We did way more than 45 minutes. So Thai gave me a lot of information, and I'm really grateful that he's on the show. So thank you for tuning in for Papicock Podcast. We appreciate your support, and we'll come through very soon with another episode. So thank you so much for tuning in and supporting me, Victor Pacheco. You can find me at HispanicTitanic.com or on all social media, Puro Papi Pacheco, PuroPapiPacheco. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you guys at a show in the near future. So I got a bunch of shows coming up in LA, in Southern California, and I got a bunch of shows coming up in Northern California in the Bay Area. So hit me up, and I hope to see you guys soon. HispanicTitanic.com. This has been Papicock Podcast. Hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.